drinking out of a reindeer mug. My hair is just like this, and that's just gonna have to be okay. Hi you guys! Today I'm going to be talking about my own thoughts, so they might not be your thoughts, and if they're not, let's just be nice to each other. I'm here to share with you guys my own thoughts on medication, what I think about taking things like biologics, and just sort of how I look at taking medication, because so many of you guys talk about that kind of stuff and ask me questions about it. So first, let's just address side effects. Many of you, like not maybe you personally watching this, you might not be the one, but in general, when I'm creeping on all of you looking at Facebook groups and wanting to kill everyone, not really, sometimes. There's so many people out there that make maybe not the best decisions, maybe not the most educated decisions, because they're just going off of what they see and what they hear on the internet. So let's just address side effects for a second here. Probably more than a second, let's be honest. I talk too much. Yes, side effects can happen. Side effects can happen from taking Tylenol. Every single thing that you take, things that you don't even think about, every single medication comes with some sort of risk. Your body might not respond to it well. Does that mean that you shouldn't take it? It's your own personal choice. Yes, bigger things might happen with some of these medications, but the risk is very small. Like I said, I'm going to share with you guys my opinions. It's always your choice to put what you want in your body and to do what you do and to treat and manage your disease how you feel that you should best treat it. I just kind of want to share with you the way that I look at things. Damn it. I always spill coffee on my shirts. Look at this. Do you see it? Do you see it? So yeah, side effects can happen, but it's rare. What I see online is somebody has a bad side effect and they over-exaggerate it sometimes. Like, you have to consider the source first on who's commenting, because a lot of times they over-dramatize what's happened, and maybe it did happen, but as new patients or patients just start looking at this and reading all these horror stories and they think, oh my god, I'm never going to take that, that's so scary, that could happen to me, and maybe it will, but probably not. The risk for taking biologics and most of these medications is very low. Yeah, bad things can happen. They most likely are not going to happen. In fact, the most recent studies show that there's no greater increase for risk of lymphoma for taking biologics than there is for the general population. With that said, you're always taking a risk, and that's where I'm going next. This is how I look at taking medication. The choice to take something like a biologic, for instance. I kind of examine two things, and there are two different risks, and I think patients get stuck on something. They're looking for the right answer. They're looking for the perfect answer, and there's no perfect. You're choosing between two risks, because in a perfect world, we wouldn't have Crohn's disease, or we wouldn't have ulcerative colitis, and then you wouldn't have to take these medications and everything would be fine. But that's not the way it works. You have this disease and you have to choose whether you're going to treat it with medication or you're not. Risk one, take the medication, because that's your choices, right? You either take it or you don't. And I think both of those can come with some risks. So you have to choose which risk you want to take, and there's no perfect world, right? You just have to make the best choice for you and something that you feel comfortable with. If you take the medication, you might be risking side effects, okay? So that's your risk there. You're putting something into your body. You might not know what's going to happen to you. You don't know how that you're going to react to it. You might be one of those patients that ends up with something terrible happening to you. Hopefully not. That would be a terrible thing, but that's the risk that you're taking there. But the good thing is that the risks are small. The stories that you see online aren't they're just not a good representation of what's actually going on, because the majority of patients out there taking these medications aren't experiencing those things. That's your risk. So risk number one is take the medication. risk having side effects. Risk number 2 is don't take the medication. To me, I think that that is riskier, because if you don't take the medication, if you don't do something to control the inflammation, you're risking letting your disease go crazy in your body, and sometimes you don't even know that it's happening. Sometimes you can have active inflammation with no symptoms at all. It's true, it's been studied. So a patient might think they feel fine, they might go out into the world and be like, I'm in remission and I'm controlling everything with diet, and then a doctor goes to scope them and they have active disease. So without taking medication, you're risking disease taking over your body. Long-term inflammation creates damage, and it creates irreversible damage until maybe we get some anti-fibrotic treatments, but that's in the works and future stuff. But anyway, damage, permanent damage. You could be letting your body, this active inflammation is creating this scar tissue, and that scar tissue could be building up and you could be getting strictures. And what's going to happen when you get a stricture that gets so bad? You're going to get a blockage, and you might need surgery, and you might have to have that portion of your bowel resected, or you might need a strictureplasty, or that stricture could get so tight that a fistula creates another tunnel because nothing is going through and everything just wants to like burst, risking rupture of your bowels. This active disease is not a good thing. It's just not a good thing. It's not. You need something to try to control that. And this is a disease that requires something to do that. Diet is not going to do that. First of all, if you have strictures or fistulas or anything like that, no matter what you eat, you can't repair that stuff. It's kind of permanent. You actually do need medication or surgery. Like, what you're eating isn't gonna do anything. But there's no way that diet's gonna fix these genes that you have, this disease that you have. There's just no way. It can control your symptoms, and that's a good thing. And it's always important to eat healthy and to make sure you're getting proper nutrition and that your body is functioning the best that it can, because you do have a chronic illness, and so nutrition is all the more important. I'm not saying that I'm not a firm believer in eating right and exercise. I don't believe that a diet is going to do anything to take away Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Everybody acts like GIs don't care or they're not studying it, and that's not true. I sit on panels and work with GIs that are like head in the nation, and they do care and they do study it. That's the risk that you're taking there by not taking medication. In my opinion, remember, everything is just my opinion. You might not agree, and that's okay. That's fine, whatever. One other thing that I wanted to say about medicine, obviously, I'm recording this way later because I forgot to say this. So my mom, she has rheumatoid arthritis, and it's really, really bad. And we were talking like a couple weeks ago because she just started Humira, and she's been so afraid to take Humira. Like, she just was totally against it, thought like, I would never take that, never put that in my body. I'm going to get cancer and all this bad stuff is going to happen to me. She has been taking methotrexate for like over 20 years, a very long time, and she refused to do this forever. And meanwhile, she's had multiple surgeries. She's had so many surgeries on her hands, so many surgeries on her feet. Her hands are deformed, her bones are all like misshapen and fused together. Same with her feet, like toes have like metal rods in them and stuff. It's just not a good situation, and she lives in a lot of pain. She had all these surgeries, and now she's on disability. Like, methotrexate wasn't working really well for her, obviously, if she's still having these surgeries and that all went out of control. And just think about if she had decided to take Humira a long time ago, and that was the thing that worked for her, and she could have saved herself from all these surgeries and pain and stuff that has happened that's really, really bad. Maybe it would have been better for her to try this medication, and then those things wouldn't have happened, and she wouldn't have those surgeries, and her hands and her feet wouldn't be all misshapen and stuff. And now she's finally on it, now that she has better doctors and she's finally listened to me and everything. And hopefully things will get better for her. So that's another way to look at it, like quality of life thing. Her quality of life was probably not as good as it could have been, and I really wish that she would have tried a medication that would have maybe worked better for her and possibly saved her from pain and surgeries and all of that. So that's how I look at it. You either take the medication or you don't, and you deal with what comes with those things. There's always going to be a risk. There's no perfect answer. There's never going to be a perfect answer. The perfect answer would be cure the disease and then we all live happily ever after, but that's not an option for us. You have to choose to either take the medication or not take the medication and then deal with what comes with that. There's another thing that I look for when deciding to take a medication or not, and that is quality of life. And I examine my quality of life. When I'm not on these medications, I'm in the hospital more frequently. My quality of life is severely diminished because even if I'm not in the hospital, I'm very ill and I can't work and I can't do things and I'm so weak and in pain and pretty much live in my bed and struggle. Quality of life is very diminished for me if I'm not on a medication. If I take one of these medications, it helps control things a lot better and I'm able to do more. Is my life perfect? No, but I stay out of the hospital for a longer period of time. I'm able to do more. I can work sometimes. Yeah, my quality of life improves greatly. Some people on these medications, their quality of life improves so much, it's like they almost forget that they have IBD, and that's a good thing. The medications, to me, in my opinion, are a good thing. I think they're a good choice. I think that the risk, well, I know that the risks are low. Yeah, you are still taking a risk, and yes, bad things can happen. You just have to make a choice for yourself, educate yourself, make sure that the information that you're getting makes sense and is coming from a good source. So that's my thoughts on medication. And there's so many advances right now, like the new drug out there, Entyvio, which is an infusion. It's developed and designed just for us. Like Remicade and Humira and all those, like IBD patients use them, but same with arthritis and some other things. But Entyvio was made just for us. How cool is that? It's gut specific. I mean, this video is not about Entyvio, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But just thinking about the things that are happening now and the advances that are happening and the fact that, like, when I think about patients that are young that may not have to go through the life that I went through, I think that's a great thing, and sometimes I'm jealous, but we are so far ahead of where we were in the past, even from when I was a little girl, and I think in 5, 10, 20 years from now, people with IBD are going to have a way better quality of life, even if there is no cure. That's all I gotta say. So look at a few things. Look at risk 1 and risk 2. Take the medication, don't take the medications. Think about what can happen with either one of them. Think about your quality of life. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Leave me comments below because I like to read them. And read the description box below because you should. And go follow all my social media sites and everything like that.